Throughout World War II, the outcome of entire campaigns and even the fate of nations often hinged on a single battle. In the chaos of global conflict, a handful of decisive engagements shifted the balance of power and set the stage for victory. Today, we're diving deep into the most pivotal battles of World War II, fighting on land, sea, and air, that changed the course of history. From the fierce skies over Britain to the brutal streets of Stalingrad and the decisive naval clashes in the Pacific, these battles not only defined the war but also reshaped our world. If you love exploring the events that have shaped history, be sure to subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and hit the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the past. Now, let's embark on a journey through some of the most decisive battles of World War II. 7. The Battle of Britain, defending the skies. Arguably the first major turning point of the war, the Battle of Britain was fought in the summer and autumn of 1940. After the fall of France, Nazi Germany sought to break Britain's resolve by launching an air offensive aimed at destroying the Royal Air Force, RAF, and forcing Britain to negotiate for peace. British fighter pilots, famously known as the Few, faced off against the formidable Luftwaffe in a battle that would determine the survival of the United Kingdom. The RAF's superior tactics, including radar early warning systems and the skill of its pilots, allowed them to inflict heavy losses on the German bombers and fighters. The battle's outcome not only prevented a German invasion but also proved that an air campaign could decisively alter the course of a war. The courage displayed during this battle continues to inspire military strategists and serves as a symbol of resistance against overwhelming odds. 6. The Battle of Stalingrad, the turning point on the Eastern Front. If there is one battle that stands as the epitome of urban warfare and human endurance, it is the Battle of Stalingrad. Fought between August 1942 and February 1943, this brutal confrontation between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union became one of the bloodiest in history. Stalingrad, a city on the Volga River, was strategically significant to both sides. For Hitler, capturing the city would not only secure the flank for the southern advance but also serve as a propaganda victory. For Stalin, the defense of Stalingrad was a matter of national survival. What followed was a relentless, close-quarters battle that turned entire neighborhoods into war zones. Soldiers fought in factories, rubble-strewn streets, and even in sewers. The bitter winter compounded the suffering, and both sides endured unimaginable hardships. The Soviet strategy of encirclement eventually trapped the German Sixth Army, leading to its surrender in February 1943. The victory at Stalingrad marked a major turning point in the war, shifting the momentum in favor of the Allies on the Eastern Front. The sacrifice and resilience shown by the Soviet forces at Stalingrad remain emblematic of the human spirit under extreme adversity. 5. The Battle of Midway, a decisive clash at sea. Across the vast Pacific Ocean, the Battle of Midway in June 1942 proved to be a crucial turning point in the war between the United States and Japan. Just 6 months after the devastating attack on Pearl Harbor, American naval forces managed to ambush and decisively defeat a Japanese fleet that had aimed to seize control of Midway Atoll, a strategic point in the Pacific. Thanks to intercepted Japanese communications and careful planning, U.S. naval commanders, led by Admirals Chester Nimitz and Raymond Spruance, were able to lay a trap for the Japanese carriers. In a matter of days, the U.S. forces sank 4 Japanese carriers, a loss from which the Imperial Navy would never recover. The victory at Midway shifted the balance of power in the Pacific, curbing Japanese expansion and setting the stage for a series of offensive operations that would eventually lead to Japan's surrender. Midway is celebrated not only for its strategic importance but also for the way it demonstrated the power of intelligence and preparation in modern warfare. It remains a defining moment in naval history and a testament to the ingenuity and resolve of the American military. 4. The Invasion of Italy. After the successes in North Africa, the Allies turned their attention to Italy in 1943. The invasion of Sicily and later the mainland allowed the Allies to weaken German defenses in southern Europe and provided a pathway for further operations into the heart of the Italian peninsula. The campaign in Italy was long and grueling, marked by harsh terrain and determined German resistance, but it ultimately forced the Axis powers to divert resources from other fronts. 3. The Siege of Leningrad. On the Eastern Front, the Siege of Leningrad, 1941–1944, was a prolonged and devastating ordeal for the Soviet Union. Although not a battle in the conventional sense, the siege tested the resolve of the Leningrad population and the Soviet military. The city withstood nearly 900 days of blockade and bombardment, symbolizing the indomitable spirit of the Soviet people. The eventual lifting of the siege marked a turning point in the Eastern Front and significantly weakened German forces. 2. The Battle of the Bulge, the last major German offensive. In the winter of 1944–1945, the Ardennes region of Belgium became the scene of one of the most desperate and chaotic battles of World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. The Germans, seeking to split the Allied forces and recapture a vital port, launched a surprise offensive in the dense forests of the Ardennes. For weeks, brutal winter conditions and fierce fighting created a bulge in the Allied front lines as the German forces pushed deep into territory that the Allies had assumed was secure. The weather, initially a significant advantage for the Germans, eventually turned against them as fog and snow hindered their movements and logistics. American troops, fighting in freezing conditions and using sheer determination, held their ground in the face of overwhelming odds. The battle proved to be a turning point. Despite heavy casualties, the Allies eventually repelled the German offensive, marking the last major attempt by the Nazis to alter the outcome of the war. The victory at the Battle of the Bulge underscored the resilience and courage of the Allied forces during the time when victory was far from certain. 1. D-Day, the Normandy invasion. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces launched the largest seaborne invasion in history, the Normandy invasion, commonly known as D-Day. This monumental operation was the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. Thousands of ships, aircraft, and soldiers converged on the beaches of Normandy, France, in a coordinated assault that would change the course of the war. The planning behind D-Day was meticulous. Allied commanders developed detailed deception plans to mislead the Germans about the invasion's location, while engineers built temporary portable harbors and extensive logistical networks to support the landing forces. On D-Day, American, British, Canadian, and other Allied troops faced fierce resistance from German defenders entrenched in fortified positions. The fighting was intense, with heavy casualties on both sides, but the persistence of the Allies eventually led to the capture of key positions along the coast. The success of D-Day was not merely a military victory, it was a decisive psychological blow to the Nazi regime. It demonstrated that the Allies had the capability to mount a massive, coordinated offensive, and it opened up a new front in Western Europe that would lead to the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany. The impact of these battles on world history. Each of these decisive battles contributed to the eventual Allied victory in World War II and reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the post-war world. Redrawing the map of Europe. The defeat of Nazi Germany in battles like Normandy, Stalingrad, and the Bulge led to the liberation of occupied territories and the eventual division of Europe during the Cold War. The collapse of the Axis powers paved the way for new political structures and the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers. Advancements in military strategy and technology. World War II was a period of rapid technological and tactical innovation. The successful use of combined arms, airborne operations, and coordinated intelligence played a crucial role in the Allied victories. The lessons learned in these decisive battles continue to influence modern military strategy and technology, from development of advanced aircraft and naval vessels to the use of satellite-based reconnaissance. Cultural and psychological impact. The bravery and sacrifices of the soldiers who fought in these battles have become an enduring part of global collective memory. Memorials, films, books, and personal accounts keep the legacy of these battles alive, serving as reminders of the immense human cost of conflict and the resilience of those who fought for freedom. The role of leadership and strategy. One of the key factors that determined the outcome of these battles was the quality of leadership on both sides. Great military leaders, such as Winston Churchill, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, General Georgy Zhukov, and Admiral Chester Nimitz, played pivotal roles in planning and executing these operations. Their ability to inspire, organize, and make critical decisions under pressure was essential to turning the tide of war. Command and control. Effective communication and the ability to adapt quickly to changing battlefield conditions were hallmarks of successful leadership during World War II. Commanders relied on innovative strategies, such as the use of coded radio transmissions and intelligence from decrypted enemy messages, to outmaneuver their opponents. The integration of new technology with traditional tactics created a dynamic battlefield environment where flexibility often determined success. Psychological warfare and propaganda. In addition to military tactics, psychological warfare and propaganda were vital. Leaders on all sides used these tools to demoralize their enemies and rally their own people. The victory at D-Day, for example, was as much a psychological blow to the German high command as it was a military victory. Such victories not only undermined enemy morale but also boosted the resolve of the Allied forces. The human cost and legacy of war. It is impossible to discuss these decisive battles without acknowledging the immense human cost. Millions of soldiers and civilians lost their lives, and entire communities were left to rebuild from the rubble. The pain and suffering endured during the war have had lasting impacts on societies around the globe, shaping national identities and influencing generations. Remembering the fallen. In every battle, the sacrifice of those who fought, whether on the front lines or behind the scenes, serves as a solemn reminder of the price of freedom. Memorials and commemorative events continue to honor the bravery and sacrifice of those who lost their lives, ensuring that their legacy is never forgotten. Rebuilding and reconciliation. The aftermath of these battles led to a long period of reconstruction and reconciliation. The devastation of war forced nations to come together, fostering international cooperation and giving rise to institutions such as the United Nations. The lessons learned from these conflicts have informed policies and diplomatic strategies aimed at preventing future wars. The future of historical memory. The decisive battles of World War II continue to shape our understanding of modern history. As new research methods, archival discoveries, and technological innovations refine our knowledge, the interpretation of these events evolves. History remains a dynamic field, constantly reinterpreted by each generation. The way we remember these battles is influenced by our contemporary values, technological advancements, and the ongoing quest for a deeper understanding of the past. Modern documentaries, films, and books have played an essential role in keeping these stories alive for new audiences. They not only recount the facts but also capture the emotions, heroism, and tragedy of these pivotal moments. By revisiting the lessons of the past, we ensure that the sacrifices of millions are not forgotten and that the wisdom gleaned from these experiences continues to guide future generations. The decisive battles of World War II stand as monumental testaments to human resilience, ingenuity, and sacrifice. From the skies over Britain and the urban warfare in Stalingrad to the vast naval clashes in the Pacific and the bloody struggle in the Ardennes, each battle not only turned the tide of the war but also reshaped the global order. The leadership, strategies, and technological innovations born out of these conflicts have left a legacy that continues to influence modern military and political thought. These battles remind us that history is defined not only by the grand victories and defeats but also by the individual acts of bravery and the human cost of conflict. They compel us to reflect on the enduring impact of war on societies and the importance of striving for peace in a complex world. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth exploration of the most decisive battles of World War II. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you believe was the turning point of World War II? Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of history and remember that every battle fought has shaped the world we live in today.